Hi, my name's Andrew Gason. I am of Samoan origin and I was born and raised in New Zealand, in Wellington, and I'm based now in Sydney, Australia. There's two aspects to community help. There's the reactive side of helping. It's when the damage has already been done. And then there's the proactive side where the damage hasn't yet been done. And one of the biggest mistakes that government, social services, makes is they pour a lot of effort and time into the reactive side, and not enough that in ratio, not enough. They should pour more time actually. Not saying that there should be less time spent on the reactive side, but there should be more time spent on the proactive side, setting the next generation up so that they don't fall into the same barriers and traps and problems that we already been through. I've worked in different levels of supporting government and different political aspects. I've done campaigns and worked with councils and police and different emergency services, community level volunteers, cultural hierarchies, religious groups, and I've found that at the end of the day, a lot of them have been taught to lean on the government for support, like different funds or grants or these sorts of services, but the ultimate way to solve a lot of our problems is that we create and self-sustain and self-fund our own services for our own people, because then you're not influenced by some agenda that comes attached with the money. Because usually when you take money from some place, there's an expectation that it will be spent in the way that the source sees fit. Otherwise, they won't impart the money. However, a lot of the solutions that the community wants to deliver or implement can't be done because the funding doesn't fit. So I've seen communities swing fully the other way, where they design all of their services around government funding, but then you're no longer servicing what the people really need on the ground, because it's the people on the ground who know more than anyone, more than any government or any group who's higher up. It's the people on the ground who know what's really needed, and they're the ones who, if you were going to get a program put in, you'd go to them and say, well, what sort of program would you recommend? And then they would design it from the ground up, and then the solution for the funding would be using social enterprise, businesses that are socially minded to support the community, and ideally businesses that are run by the community, because then it's self-sustainable, the whole system. So you no longer depend on government solutions and services that have been set up. And that is the key to long-term solutions. All the solutions that are, as soon as you have to go to government or any of these sort of grants and fundings, it really changes your concepts and that sort of thing. So I've done a lot of programs with youth, teaching them how to start their own businesses, and I've found from all the different ways that I've helped, and I've worked in drug rehabs and criminal rehabs, and I've gone into prisons right across the Victoria, New South Wales, and worked on rehabilitation programs with the inmates on the streets, all kinds of levels. And I've found that there's already solutions out there. They're just not able to be fully implemented because they're not funded. And the ultimate solution is that we generate that income ourselves, which is why I started to move towards teaching young people how to start their own businesses, micro businesses. It's just the concept of being causative to create your own solutions. And that is the key to climbing out of any situation. I myself, I got so far into the wrong solutions when I was younger and ended up in jail and ended up, I used to smuggle weapons and deal in drugs and all kinds of gang affiliated crimes and hang around with all the wrong people. And until I made up my mind that I didn't want to do that anymore, and then acted on that to take the necessary steps to change my environment. Until I did that, I was never going to make it out. And that's how it works on the community level. Until the community makes a decision, we're no longer going to depend on anyone. We're going to generate our own solutions and create business to fund it, and work together as a community to support a strategic system to supply the services needed, whether it be mental health, and even with mental health, it's as easy as having a mentor. That is like such a missing factor in a lot of people's lives who are in need of that kind of, their need of guidance. And this is where spirituality is so key, so important, is because it gives the guidance, it gives the moral and ethical guidance as to how to live your life in a way that will lead towards a more positive outcome. And you need that basis in order to then build your decision making around, and all your ideas of who you will connect with and network with, and who you'll cut from your friends, and everything will be sort of based off that foundation. So that is the very key element. But without the community working together to provide the overall solution, you can't really get the result that we're trying to reach. Is we're all trying to change the outcome of not just our home, but our friends' homes, our families' homes, our people that we care about, people that we don't know necessarily. We don't wish ill of them. We also want them to do well. So as a community, you have enough networks inside the community to provide mentors, education, whether it be health education, dietary education, really fundamental skills and knowledge that is already in the community. It's just not strategically networked together to make it accessible to everybody else in the community. It's all sort of fragmented and it's spread out. And so after 20 years of working in community infrastructures and on all kinds of human rights campaigns and things, it all boiled down to, in the end, create a self-sustainable, financially independent body or community body that has networked up to provide jobs, skills, positive groups and mentors. There's so much in there, and that's really been the lesson, the biggest lesson that I've learned from the experience that I've gone through. And I sit on nearly 30 different boards right across the country, on different religious boards of different cultural bodies, and as an advisor. And I'm able to solve a lot of these problems through just the experience, and then also through those networks I learn I learn a lot from other people who have had solutions. They've created major success, and then it's fallen over because there was nothing backing it. There was no support, and it's all too common. That story is the smaller community groups. They try to get off the ground. They start food banks or some sort of support network, and they just can't afford to keep forking out and paying for it themselves. They fall over and give up. And if you take too many losses, you give up on that goal. So the only way to avoid that is to create a better network that has the right purpose. And the purpose is to unite all the resources. And there's also business, people who are smart with business in the community. There are successful businesses in the community. You can teach people to spend money in those businesses so that those people keep their jobs. They can hire more people. You know, you can actually control and create your own economic bubble, so it's no longer impacted by the overall scene. And you'll be amazed how many skills and valuable resources that are already there. It's just not being networked together. So I'm working on a project now to create a template that communities can use so that they can just put their resources into it, and then it's a platform that they can put online or put, take to their meetings and learn. So that's what I wanted to cover a little bit of today. And if you have any more questions, you are free to ask or send a message or in the text. Thanks.